This is Alex the Rebel, and we off script. Welcome to Off Script. This is your host, Alex the Rebel, and let's just get right into the good stuff. So today I want to talk about something that I love. I love movies, right? So I want to talk about movies. I want to talk particularly about a certain movie, and more specifically, I want to talk about a trilogy of movies. So trilogies is a great thing to like aspire to, right? We've seen some really bad ones and we've seen some really good ones like Lord of the Rings, right? Great trilogy. You got the Dark Knight trilogy, which I think the third one is really good still, and the third one some people. But you also got the original Star Wars trilogy, epic, right? We have the Indiana Jones trilogy, the original three. Mind you, a lot of this is the original stuff, but we know that they're very hard to actually sustain. Not only like a good storyline, a good plot, and also good characters, but sustain the magic of what made the original great, right? Because that's the point. The original movie has to be peak. It has to be incredible, and then you got subsequent sequels that have to be incredible as well. So it's very hard. Like even The Godfather couldn't do it. Godfather one, incredible. Godfather two, incredible. Some people even say that it's better than the original Godfather, right? But whatever. I'm an OG guy. I'm like I think The Godfather, the original, is better, but that's neither here nor there. But then we have Godfather Part Three. Not good. I mean, it's fine, but it not to the standard of what the first one did, right? So I want to talk about a trilogy that's near and dear to my heart, and it's perfect. And the funny thing is, growing up, I absolutely always loved part one and part two. Like it was always like there was times that I loved part two better than part one, but now I am an OG guy again. So I love the part one because that set the standard and it's so good. But as I gotten older, I started watching these movies again with my kids, right? So I saw it again a few years ago with Noah. And then this year I went through the trilogy again with Noah and Jonah. So what movie am I talking about? If you guys noticed my dog right there, you know what I'm saying? My little homie, Marty McFly, he's there from Back to the Future. And that's what I want to talk about today. The Back to the Future trilogy, why it works, and why, if you haven't seen it, I think you should see it. Okay. So here we go. Why it works. They have the same main two characters. Like this is the magic of this movie. The magic of this movie is Marty McFly and Doc Brown. Okay, like that's the essence. That's the essential. That's what keeps us into it. Okay, Michael J. Fox in this role is peak Michael J. Fox. This is one of the greatest roles. I like his antsy, neurotic character. It's like so perfect for this role. The funny thing about this movie was that there was another guy that was actually cast because Michael J. Fox was not available to do the movie because he was in Facts of Life. And I think it's Facts of Life, but he was in another show and he was super busy. And then they got this another guy, Eric Schultz, and they filmed. Man, I remember exactly, but they filmed like 6 weeks, I think, and they had to scratch that because it was not working. He was too serious of an actor, and this was supposed to be like a coming of age comedy, funny movie, right? Because the stuff that happens in this movie is really like crazy. Because he goes okay. I mean, spoilers, minor spoilers. Spoilers, man. Yeah, because if I'm trying to convince you, I shouldn't tell you everything, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna try to not do that many spoilers, but some little spoilers are gonna be in here. So there is time travel, right? So Marty McFly, Doc Brown, and then the beautiful DeLorean. This car is gorgeous. I have him right there. I have it right there. I love this car. It's so cool. But The DeLorean, so it's the time machine. All right. So there's those three things. They're constant. Another constant is, uh, again, I don't want to spoil. So the reason this works is because what they grab from the first movie, they almost repeat it in every movie. There's certain beats in each movie that almost the same thing. And the funny thing is that you would think, oh man, they're just copying, like this is getting old. No, 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 no. That's the great thing about the trilogy. Like they make it fresh. Okay, so in part one, he goes to the past. Okay, he goes to the past, and he has to undo a mistake that he made. So Marty McFly, he goes to the past, and he does something that changes history, that changes his history. So now he has to fix it. Okay. Now there's certain beats, like there's the bully Biff. He's in all three movies, but he plays different characters of his family lineage, which is so funny. It's like awesome. Like it's so cool. So you got that. You got his mother, Marty McFly's mother. She's in all three movies, and she does certain beats in all three movies. She plays different characters in the movies. Again, family lineage. So there are certain people that give great performances. So getting back to it, part one, he goes to the past and he has to fix what he messed up. Okay. Part two, he has to go to the future, his future, because something's happening in his family. Like, so he, he's married and he has kids and stuff. So something's happening in his family that he has to stop from happening because it's gonna ruin their lives. It's gonna ruin their lives. So he goes to the future, but again, Marty McFly always doing something to mess something up, that he fixes something, but then he makes a mistake, and that mistake causes him to go back to the first movie, basically to 1955. So this is said 1985. He has to go back to 1955 again. So the funny thing is, in part one, he goes to 1955. Part two, he goes to 2015. And then they make some predictions in that movie. Like, for instance, they have a World Series that the Cubs finally won, which is funny because they won in 2016. I'm telling you, but they also have that the Cubs were playing the Florida Alligators or the Miami Alligators. But the thing was, there was no Florida team at that time. They were made in the 90s, so they became Florida Marlins. So it's like, hey man, they're picking up on some stuff. So anyways, in part two, he goes to 2015, but he makes a mistake there, and now he has to go all the way back to 1955. Okay, so this movie brings iconic shoes. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna spoil it. You guys probably know what it is, but these shoes are so awesome, and they're worth tens of thousands of dollars now. It's crazy how expensive these shoes are. But and then you got part three, that again a mistake happens, something happens, that the time machine gets made to go somewhere, and they end up in 1885. So 100 years in the past. So you got past, future, and then really back past. So the three movies, they have similar beats, right? Which is it's always good. Like what was good about movies, like what's good about sequels and trilogy, like a lot of people don't understand this. Like for instance, Home Alone, right? Home Alone is a perfect sequel to the first because it's basically the same, almost the same beat, but bigger bigger consequences, right? Like bigger. He's in New York. It's just a bigger thing. So that's kind of the same thing with Back to the Future, that it keeps growing, right? So the first movie is more of a coming of age movie. So it's really focused on Marty and him, and what he wants with life, right? What's his desires, like how he envisions himself, right? So there's a big of coming of age. He's talking to his parents that they're young, they're coming of age. So it's a very coming of age type of story. Then you got part two, right? So part two is more dark, more cynical, more dystopian because again, he goes to the future, he changes something, and it just changes like his present life. His 1985 completely changed, and now he has to go to 1955 to fix it again. And so this is more like again bigger consequences, bigger action. It just feels bigger. Like it's not only about him. Now the whole city is really affected by this decision that he made. Right. And part three is like it goes to Western, like the story of the power of friendship and love. Like that's the main theme, right? Like we have those things in place. And what's cool is like every movie, right? It's not centered around every the same character. Like Marty McFly and Doc Brown are the heart of it, right? But in part one, there's a big arc in somebody else's life, not in Marty's, really, right? It's more about a bigger arc for somebody. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a big arc that happens that helps the present. So for instance, in 1985, right, Marty McFly he's living in his life, he's living with his family, but it's not the best kind of life, right? Because again, choices that you make, right, have consequences. Things you did do has positive and also negative, right? So, in this lifetime, in the original 1985, is a consequence of stuff that happened in the past. When Marty goes back, he helps it not only make it, but he also helps somebody find their courage, right? And this affects his life in the future. Like, and his life is better for it because he helped this character overcome, being afraid, overcome being bullied. He overcame his situation and literally changed his life for the better. So originally, when they made this movie, Back to the Future, the original, it was a standalone movie. They didn't, Steven. Oh, I forgot. Robert Zemeckis is the director, and he wrote it, and it's produced by Steven Spielberg. Spielberg. Oh, and the music is amazing. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Okay, so originally when they filmed Back to the Future, it was it was a standalone movie, right? It was just they did it. It became this huge hit. It blew up. It became this massive hit. So what they did is part two and part three. They filmed it back to back. So that's why if you watch part one, you can watch part one, and that's it. Like it's a perfect movie on its own, right? But part two, when at the end of part two, it leaves you with a cliffhanger. See, like in part one, they have a resolution, for the story that they went for. Part two has a massive cliffhanger that goes right into part three. So it's very tied in. And what's cool is like you go to the past, like the 1950s, you go to the future, 2015, but then you go to 1885, like I said, Western. So as I was younger, I wasn't a huge Western guy, right? But I really, on the clock tower, the clock tower is so predominant in all three movies. But anyways, this movie, I wasn't a huge fan of Western, but as I gotten older, I really, really, really appreciate these movies more. And I really like this movie because you know what? They took a big swing. They went to a Western and it worked. It worked because it was a story for Doc Brown, right? So and in Doc Brown, it was a great story for him. And was what I love about it too is like in this movie, finally when you finally watch everything, you see Marty McFly's, you see his thing, his like there's a thing that happens to him that he always fought for, and I love that they finally gave him that arc. You know what I'm saying? In part three, he finally resolves it, and you finally see his arc, right? Like throughout this whole journey of him growing and learning and learning that he keeps, making mistakes, and mistakes have consequences. Like your decision have consequences, right? I'm not gonna say for Marty McFly, he learns what he needs to learn. They give Doc Brown a great ending, and then they leave it perfectly. Like, it's incredible how they can make three movies and all three movies be incredible on its own. And again, it's having certain beats. It's more so like these beats instead of like or lazy writing. It's like it has a charm to it, right? Like you expect it and you look for it. You know what I'm saying? Like by the second movie, you see like certain beats that happen in the first, and you're like, oh, that's fun, that's cool. Then the third, same thing. And I just love that you're kind of like looking for it. Like I was watching the movies and I was like, oh, this is gonna happen again. You know, like I was excited. And it's like because it was very well written. It was like I was talking to Andrew, right? And there to me, there's certain movies that they do stuff because they know it's gonna get like clicks or they know people are gonna like it. Like you know what I'm saying? But it feels forced, right? It feels forced, and it doesn't hold up well. And then that at least for me, once it like after watching it one or two times, it kind of loses its charm because it just felt like a cash grab, right? Like, and I hate that. I feel a lot of these, sadly, I love comic book movies, but a lot of these, especially Marvel, I feel like they try to go cash grab a lot. And, putting this character here, like, like right now they're going to do, Robert Downey Jr. as Doomsday. You know, why? I mean, you ended his life. It was a great Iron Man ending, right? Like it was awesome, and they're gonna bring him back. Whatever. I don't know. I don't. I don't know how I feel about this movie. But besides that, this feels like they're honoring the theme. That they're. It has a charm to it. So I mean, I think that they hold up very well, and it's crazy because watching them, I feel. I mean, I'm probably the wrong person because I'm biased and I'm very nostalgic. But I feel like these movies hold up very well. Like the acting is so good, the comedy is funny, the characters again, you grow to love these characters. Like there's characters in every movie that it plays from the first movie. And you're like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like it's like ta-da! Yeah, all right. I get to see that character again. And there's a charm to that. There's a magic to it, comedy, like heart. There's so many good qualities in these movies, and I just love that at the end you get an awesome resolution. Like at the end, it's a perfect ending for all these characters to finally be like that. You can finally shut it off and be like, I'm very happy with this. Like you can't see that about a lot of movies, bro. You can't watch a lot of movies and end and be like, I'm happy the way it ended. And I'm very happy with the ending of Back to the Future trilogy. It's an achievement to make three perfect movies. I mean, that's hard to do, but they did it. Robert Zemeckis, Steven Spielberg, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd. I tip my hat to you. You guys did an incredible job. I love this movie. And the best part of it is my kids absolutely love these movies. The Jonah wants to be Marty McFly this Halloween. So, I mean, I feel like I'm winning in life. Doc, this is heavy. Rebel out.